All right. All right. Hello, hello. Test, test. Check, 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 check. That's my sniffles. I don't have no pop filter.
Oh, it's good.
Huh?
It's cheery. Looks good.
What?
It looks good. It looks cheery.
What are you talking about?
The lighting.
Oh, well, the lighting is only going to work when I'm sitting in that chair. All right. All right. Check. Eternally Minded Tape Gun Podcast.
They went back.
Except we don't have an eternal roll of tape.
That's true. So what I'm thinking is they go this way. Is this enough bubble tape? Or that's not enough?
How many cups is that for?
4. Like that's plenty.
You could do one of those
Oh.
box sleeves that we used to send.
Oh.
We
Hey.
should have been using those the whole time.
What the? Good job.
Did you catch yourself from dropping?
I don't think so. I think I was gonna say what the heck.
Yeah, you was.
Who's that? But
All right, welcome to Eternal EMP, Eternally Minded Podcast. My name is Kevin. I am new to everything.
I think that was really great intro, but you need to look at the camera because
Hello, welcome to EMP, the Eternally Minded Podcast. My name is Kevin, and I would just like to welcome y'all in.
I imagine that was better.
This is number two. Number two. What the aim is today, what the aim is today is we want to figure out how to get into a flow thought. And I don't know a better way to say it. And I really don't want to listen to myself because there is a delay, a little bit of latency into that headphone, and so it's like you hear it too.
Yeah, when I wear the headphones, it's hard sometimes. It's like you can hear it and
You can hear me, and then you hear me come in after. Yeah, and that's this is a cheap setup, but we're learning, we're getting in there, and we're getting into the fight. We're learning how to use our voice. We're not too worried about what comes out at this point because you have to start somewhere. And so I want to encourage you, if you feel like you have something to say, then figure out how to get in to say it. Fight the good fight. Um, so my goal today is to try to figure out how to get into a thought, a flow state, thinking state of mind. And as you can see right now, I have to think about my words. I have to think about what I want to say, and I don't know what's going to come out. And I start using this really odd phrasing and almost like a repetitive nature where I will say the same phrasing over and over, or I'll do a lot of over explanations or over um, I'll do a lot of alliteration. So I'll say something and then I will just continue to add to it multiple examples. I don't know what that's called. I don't even know if that's an alliteration. Uh, what is there a word for that? It's not alliteration. I'm gonna think about this. Iteration? Maybe I don't know the word I'm thinking of. But anyways, regardless, um, I think a lot. I'm an overthinker, and when I get into my comfort place, and I think as we all do, whenever when you're not afraid of anything, you're in a place either around friends or family that you can open up to, then you can say anything, however you need to say it. You can. It just comes out, and it's so clean, and the thoughts are so clear that it just feels right. It's you in your deepest sense. And I used to say that our ego is the filter by which we filter ourselves. So we are who we are, and the ego is the mindset that we put in front of ourselves. And as we come through that filter, we, let's say, watch what we're going to say, our language, our tone, our personality, our phrasing. And the filter diffuses, um, not diffuses, but it blocks certain elements that we don't want to be represented. And what that does is it takes time. It takes time. Even if your thought process is really fast, you answer that question, or someone asks you a question, and then you just, you know, you seemingly snap into an answer, but you know that you just gave it a little filter to check yourself. Uh, be it from your boss or a parent or a spouse, or on social media. We filter a lot because the more people that are watching us, the more we want to filter. And I think that's why public speaking is one of the greatest fears. Um, and not like a true sense of dying fear, but in this way of like you don't know how to be. Like you become so terrified because that filter that you have to put on because you just want to hide. You want to hide from people. It becomes so thick that you freeze and you just can't even begin to process what it takes to get yourself out. And the reality is that once you start filtering like that, then you just, you know, you can't handle it. And so you have to begin to break that down, and you have to surrender the idea of controlling your image and controlling what you're going to say, and that takes time. So, so if you have a fear of speaking, if you turn that camera on and that mic on, and you just kind of lock up and break up. I've been doing this for years, and it has been a long journey of just peeling away layer after layer to get to the place where I can just speak freely. And I do this because I know who I am, and I know what thoughts come through me and through my head, and I go, man, this is good. This is worth sharing. And then I go to write it down, or I go to try to record it, and then all of a sudden you're just trying to remember the past, and it just doesn't come out the same. It just doesn't feel right. And um, and so I feel like that's what I'm looking for. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it isn't so much the information as it is the presentation. Maybe knowledge and information, like it's all out there, but to be an to be an educator or to be a presenter, you have to have more than just knowledge, but you have to be able to move people, um, to influence. And so maybe that's what I'm actually trying to get to, is a place where I can share what I know, but to do it in a way where it's coming from my heart without any filter, or with you know the smallest amount of filtering, in order to just be, peaceable. So, anyways, that is why we're here. Eternally Minded podcast, all of it fits in because we are eternal beings. We are going to live forever. We are in a state of being right now, but that state is going to change. And I think that too many people, um, maybe I don't know. Maybe this is maybe just my thoughts, and it's up for you to decide for yourself. But um, when I look at how people live, when I look at how I live, uh, a lot of things just don't make sense to me. I don't understand. I don't feel like I live life very well, maybe because of that. But I don't understand how people make decisions. It seems like their decisions are investments purely into this life. Like they have no thought of who they are, their existence on this earth, and they're living as if when they die, that's it. But then they don't really fully commit to that idea either, because if this life was all you were going to get, I think you would be taking a lot more risks into elevating more pleasure, eliminating more pain. But it's like they eliminate a little bit of pleasure, they add a little bit of pleasure and then try to eliminate as much pain as they can. Um, but they're not fully committing, because if I knew that this life was it, when I died, that was it, um, that worldview would send me down a different path. I would absolutely go down a different path, because there are things that I want in this life, and there are um, there's ideas or guides or something that keeps me from doing those things, because I know that they are not good for my eternal health. Just like we all live eating a certain way because we want to be able to get into old age either fully ready to break down all at the same time, or we want to extend that health, our physical health, as far as we can. But if you take into consideration that we are absolutely going to die and shed this existence and then move into another existence, the same core being with a new existence, then we would say, well, why put so much into this life? Let's focus on eternal health. And so, this body is going to die, right? Dust to ashes to ash, dust to dust. This body of ours is going to be shed. It's going back into the ground, and then we're going to put on a new being, a new body, and and who knows what that's going to be like. But the the uh, the thing that is going to transcend, that's what we want to invest in, be it our spirit or our soul, our mind, our memories, our thoughts. Um, that's that's what I feel we should invest in. And I see a lot of people making decisions, and I've made a lot of decisions where I go, well, that was, those were really dumb decisions. I feel like I could be a better person had I not made choices. But I made choices, and we all make choices. And when we come to a state of a better understanding, then we turn from those and we start growing from where we're at. And I think that is really important for for all of us. And I think that we all do that. And I'm at complete peace with myself and with everyone else. I know that everyone's on their own journey, and it's not for me to judge. I don't judge people in their journeys, or at least I try not to. Um, but when you see someone hurting themselves, when you see someone drowning, when you see someone, about to do something, when you see a child, uh, you know, about to jump off the ledge of a pool and they could potentially get hurt, um, when they're jumping close, then there is something within us that makes us want to say, let me let me try to cause you less pain. Let me try to help you. And maybe we're at a state of understanding. Maybe people come to a place of realization in their own time, because we all know that we've had people try to guide us in the wrong time, and it just doesn't amount to much. But there's these things that just kind of stick with us, words that stick with us, thoughts that stick with us, and then over time we we grab those, and they just kind of accumulate, and then one day a switch flips and we go, oh, I get it now. Yes, um, you know, all that time I could have had. So this is just those words. It's just those bits of encouragement. The things in life that we go through, um, where we become awakened, enlightened. Whatever word you want to put with it, whatever theme you wrap your existence in. These are These one. I just want these words to be words of encouragement, to help stick with you, to think eternally minded, because I believe, without a doubt, we are eternal beings. And so and so whenever that time comes where we shed this existence and then pass through the veil into, uh, what I consider the fourth dimension, then that is the existence that I want to invest in. That's the existence that I want to be prepared for, you know? And I think that there's a lot of people out there that are, and, you know, maybe, maybe in their own way. So I would love to talk about these things. If you have thoughts on uh, on our existence and what we can do to prepare for that, these are the thoughts. These are the questions that I want to start dredging up. I've been thinking through these things my whole life. I come from a Christian background, but as a thinker and heavily geared toward logic, I can't say I'm a smart thinker. I'm not gonna. I don't know my IQ or how well I analyze and process. I'm a very creative thinker. As an artist, I build systems. I I would like to think that I can see problems with systems. I want to invent. I want to create, and so logical systems. Also, if I get enough pieces, I'd like to think that I can, given time, I can see whether it's logically consistent or not. And um, that's that. That's where I want to go with this, and we're still just learning the ropes. I know that I think my audio is the next on the list to try to process and try to get the audio right. I don't know how this mic sounds. The first episode, my buddy said it sounded really low. This episode, I've got a few more tweaks made, so we're gonna just try to get at least the audio sounding nice and clear. And I've got fans and AC units running to kind of keep this hot tin box cool. This is my art studio. I'm a artist um, uh, by day, but we're gonna continue working on this podcast because I really want a place where I can bring these ideas out and share them, and and to do it so comfortably that I can just get into a topic and just kind of allow myself to let these ideas flow, and then hopefully start building a chat community around this because communication is really what we need in spaces like this, and I know there's a lot of them out there. So a lot of this is new to me. I'm just learning as I go. I appreciate any sort of feedback and um, and go from there. All right. Thank you all so much. This will be the end of our episode 2. Um, EMP, the Eternally Minded Podcast. My name is Kevin O'Keefe, and welcome. We're not going to stop it. We're just going to keep. I was just punctuating that idea because, oh, very nice. My baby just dropped a marker. Yeah, so we have a lot of ideas. See, that's where I was thinking like we should go live, but then we should also be hitting the record button in OBS because the record button will record into the computer at 4K, and then what we could do is make our clips from there, like chop it up and clip it from there. Yeah, we can try. Why don't you go to my site and see how the vocals sound outside the studio on your phone.
I may as well listen to the one that Skywalker.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, trying to get ideas out is not easy for me. If I'm just in my head, I'm a pacer and I'll just get into pacing and I'll move through all kinds of thoughts, and typically once they're gone, they're gone. Once I get through the idea, there's just no coming back. But I have spent the majority of my life trying to record those ideas, and I would sit and I would write them down. I've always wanted to be a songwriter, and I would have songs going through my head. I go, oh, this is a a decent lyric or musical compilation, and I would start trying to figure out how to write it down and record it. And I've been doing that for most of my life, and you just keep thinking that you're going to get better than that, than just recording rough drafts, um, and I never do. I never get better, and so here I am, mid 40s, and I go, well, how in the world am I going to move past this, right? They say with music, if you always have your music in front of you when you play, it's like using crutches, and you'll never develop the strength to go without the crutches until you just put them down. And so yeah, there's this idea of me being here is just making the steps to say, I'm tired of writing ideas in notebooks. I want to share these ideas. I want to share the love of Christ. I want to share the theme of Christ. But I want to do so in a way where it just says, this is my theme. This is the system that I've yet to find any holes in. And but all in all, like, we're all going to the same place. We're all moving toward that same tunnel. And and uh, you know I think that the kingdom of heaven is the fourth dimension. There may be higher dimensions, but you know, just as in this place, we know that the other dimensions are real. We know that they're there, theoretically and mathematically. Um, but the idea is that we are so far removed from them that we can't even begin to try to uncover what they are. And like, we can't even begin to see what those other dimensions are, because we're so far removed. Carl Sagan was doing a little video about the Flatlanders theory, and as he's sitting there talking about it, and you can go look it up, Carl Sagan, Flatlanders. If you go look up that video, he's explaining what the experience to a two-dimensional creature might look like if it interacted with a three-dimensional creature. And when I'm watching him talk through it, I go, well, that's exactly what Christians say. Like, that's exactly the stories of what happens in the Bible. you know voices coming from within them, seeing things come in and out of this existence, appearing or disappearing. um, uh, things that we can't do here, the things that we're limited to here. uh, Jesus did all of them, any of them, right? Like, he had no limitations to our knowledge. If he needed something, he had it. And what was his message? Like, he came and he shared all these he came and he shared all these parables with us, and many of his parables were just talking about the kingdom of heaven, right? He began a lot of them saying, the kingdom of heaven is like the kingdom of heaven is like a seed. The kingdom of heaven is like a pearl. It's like a farmer. It's like the ten virgins, or the ten women. Um, he used all these parables, and I'm like, why is Jesus using parables? And it's like, we don't even have the language to understand the kingdom of heaven, right? we don't even have words to describe what it's like. And so they, anyone that says that they've seen it, they go, "Oh, it's beyond description." And yeah, I don't know, like what uh, what is what is this place? What is this fourth dimension? What is the kingdom of heaven? And if we're going to live eternally minded, if we are all headed toward this place, toward this transitional moment, um, you know, they, I think, me and my brother say we live. Most people live this life based on their belief of that, and I see a lot of people living life. They say they believe in this existence, this this fourth dimension or the kingdom of heaven, um, but they make choices that seem to be that they're just investing in this life. They're making investments here based on their food, their activities, their schedules, um, their investments seem to be here. And if they are investing in the kingdom of heaven, they're doing so, you know, possibly in a very minimal way. So, again, um, I don't know. We don't know, but there's a lot of opinions, and there's a lot of literature, and there's a lot of experiences that people have had, and I think that it's worth looking into, and I love to talk about it, and I love to think about it. And as far as I'm concerned, I want nearly every investment in my life to go um, toward that kingdom. Um, and I believe that I believe that Jesus um, tried and true and tested, came and showed us the way. He says, "I am the way, I am the truth, I am the life." And he came and showed us the way to live today, to live here on this earth, to prepare for the kingdom of heaven. And he's like, don't miss it. Don't miss it. Invest in it. It's like the pearl of great price. The one that finds a pearl of great price, he goes and sells everything that he owns to get that pearl. And that's all he could tell us. That's all we could probably comprehend. And then he goes and tells us, what does it mean to sell all that you own? Sell all that you own to get that pearl. If there's anything in this life that hinders you, remove it from you to get that kingdom. So let's do it. Let's think about it. Let's talk about it. And let's try to start living, or try to uncover this idea of living eternally minded. I know a lot of people do. I know a lot of people are trying the absolute best they can. And to me, I believe that trying the best you can is like giving all that you can. But every day we want to seek more wisdom, more knowledge, more understanding, so that we can do more for that kingdom. And I think that if more people lived eternally minded, life on earth would look so different. There's so much fighting, there's so much anger, there's so much fear, there's so much frustration, there's so much anxiety. And I feel that if we could start living eternally minded, then all of these things would just start to reverse and to go away. And it doesn't mean that the fearful things aren't there, and the risks that the anxiety comes from aren't there. It's just that you know that there's that fourth dimension. You know that the kingdom of heaven is there, and you know that you have invested in it with everything you can. And so let's do it. I appreciate y'all coming here. If you got questions, ask. If you've got ideas, throw them in there. And we're just gonna keep this rant going, keep this ramble going, and just make it happen together. So, thank y'all for being here. EMP, Eternally Minded Podcast, where we are trying to figure out how to live in this life to invest in the next. Thank y'all for being here. I sent Leela outside to check the audio since today we are trying to crank. Oh, there she goes. How'd it sound?
It's like, okay, it's about the same. Hold on.
I heard that.
Okay, so if you go 5 bumps down on your volume with this, it's the same as 2 bumps down on the other one. So it is better. It's like 3 bumps better.
So it's louder?
But I wouldn't call it loud. Like when I played another video, that was loud. So, but it's louder and more clear.
See, I thought YouTube had a loudness meter, and then it bumps it up. I guess with live videos, you don't. Maybe you don't have that. Maybe that's what we need to research.
I think. Yeah, maybe that's what we need to research. If we.
That was from the last video.
This is the flower ball. Oh, do you want to just hear the difference? Okay. I was trying to see like a pre-recorded. So this is 2 bumps down.
This is yesterday or today. This is yesterday.
Skywalker listened to. And so that's at 2 bumps down, and that's about what the other one was at 5 bumps down. The live one. Do you want me to?
It can be heard. It is. It can be heard. It's just not. You're right. It's not. It's not up to that.
But even.
It's like negative 14 dB.
There is a little, like, there's a little bit. I heard a little less static on this live version.
Well, the input, the mic and the input are up as high as they can. It could be the fact that I need a better preamp. I don't have a dedicated preamp.
What's a preamp? Hit this spot.
It amplifies the mic signal before it goes into the system and brings it up to line level, which is where it needs to start. That M Audio has a preamp, so it should have, it should be able to get it to line level, but it just does it at a lower quality. OBS, on the other hand, is maybe there's a gain in there, but there's going to be a lot of difficulty trying to get those settings right especially when we have these fans and ACs running. But I don't know how YouTube does it. I think that's probably where we need to start with our research. Is I don't know if I've ever researched how to get the sound up for a live. I don't know why the DJI does it automatically. Maybe it's just a completely different kind of uh, signal from a tube mic. Mm. But they're all going into the computer in the same path. All right, well, let's just shut her down, and I think we had a lot of good thoughts there. Man, it takes a lot of energy to do that.
Yeah, I see that.
To just, yeah, see, I feel like I need to get to that place where I can write some ideas down and then just trust that if I start talking about it, like once I, rattle off the podcast intro, talk through some ideas, catch up from last ones, like time together, that we can jump into a new idea, and then I can just like jot down some ideas, and then they just happen. You just trust yourself.
Yeah.
But that was all off the cuff. I still don't know if I'm saying anything. It's just more of saying what I am going to be saying.
Well, I think that
We need some meat.
yeah,
Yeah, we need some meat.
yeah, and I think in saying what you're going to be saying, there are some edges of meat.
Yeah. Hit our marker button.
Okay, I'm gonna go get some more.
Maybe I should get some breakfast.
I'm gonna
And then we'll
get
start
some
another one.
small bubble wrap. That's what I'm gonna go get.
Okay.
Or these little boxes. Or maybe.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, shut that one off.
Okay.
And we'll take a break, do some research, and then restart.